IMF approves a loan arrangement for Barbados, and in sport, West Indies batsman Evan Lewis declines a white ball contract from Cricket West Indies. I'm Ricardo Robertson. This is Caribbean in 10 for Tuesday, October 2. I'll be back with the details after the break.
This not free. You're not get no love if you not have no money. Well, you don't know, this is Stacey Expressions, aka Goody Plum. My song is entitled No Free Touch. That's a clean version and the party shot rhythm. Now, this song is very controversial because you have a lot of men who are fighting against it because they don't believe in paying for love. So,
Rick Lake, I am so excited for the second set of motos. We saw some incredible racing action in the first set in Ski GP. It was as built. It was absolutely spectacular. There was a lot of passing going on. Dustin Matsouras with the overall win. Sport class, wow, Sammy Niemi was gone. He almost had a full lap lead on the whole rest of the class by the third lap.
The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has approved $290 million under an extended fund facility for Barbados as the island seeks to revitalize an ailing economy. The Washington-based financial institution said the program, in support of the homegrown Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Plan, will help the island restore debt sustainability, strengthen the external position, and improve growth prospects. The approval makes Barbados eligible to receive $49 million in assistance immediately, and that a comprehensive debt restructuring will complement the fiscal consolidation. The IMF said that the remainder of the funds will become available once the island successfully completes the 7 semi-annual reviews. Chief Economic Counselor and Barbados' lead negotiator with the IMF, Ambassador Dr. Clyde Maskell, said the funds were being provided at a rate much lower than the private market. He said the approval was a victory for Barbadians who have been asked to play their part during the difficult economic times. Meantime, one of government's economic advisors, Professor Avinash Prasad, says he expects confidence in the economy to return and for the adjustment program to continue with less pain.
In my view, in fact, the most important reason to have the IMF backing in plan is not the money, because we're such an indebted country that ultimately borrowing money is not our solution. But it's about having this credibility that if the IMF approves your plan, others want to lend to you, and your policy doesn't have to overcommit. It doesn't have to be so draconian. It has to just work, as opposed to catching up and trying to prove yourself because you have no credibility. So that's the real reason why we have gone to the IMF.
Government will now be required to set up an economic policy oversight committee made up of independent experts to review its fiscal policy and report on whether the targets set out under the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Plan are being met. Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse has ordered an expeditious investigation into yesterday's gun attack on the newly appointed Secretary General of the Rally of Progressive National Democrats. Police said Eric Jean-Baptiste was traveling in a vehicle with his 3 children and 2 bodyguards when they were attacked by unidentified gunmen. Jean-Baptiste is reported to have been wounded in the arm, but the others were unhurt. President Moïse has wished him a speedy recovery and said instructions have already been issued for the investigation to be carried out to shed light on the assault. Now, condemnation of the armed attack has also come from the Prime Minister and other government as well as opposition politicians. The 22-year-old Trinidad and Tobago student who tried to steal an American Airlines jet from Orlando Melbourne International Airport last month has accepted a plea deal that will see him being deported to his homeland, and he has agreed not to return to the United States. Nishal Sankat, the son of former principal of the University of the West Indies, Professor Clement Sandcart has been charged with criminal theft of an aircraft, criminal trespassing, and visa violation hours. Yesterday, the Florida Institute of Technology student pleaded guilty to burglary of a conveyance and will be deported to Trinidad by tomorrow. Now, on September 20th, he drove to the curb outside the airport during the early hours of the morning and left his car running, hoping, and hopped over a fence and then boarded the plane. A maintenance worker spotted him and police took him into custody a few minutes later. Prosecutors said he planned to steal the plane to harm himself, and Sandcart's attorney said his client's mental state is delicate and that he needs treatment rather than jail time. The Trinidad and Tobago government says it has been informed by U.S. law enforcement authorities about Sandcart's deportation, and they are ready to receive him just as they would any Trinidadian national who is deported. Stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. Fast bowlers Kemar Roach and Alzari Joseph have been handed all format contracts, but short format opener Evan Lewis has snubbed a white ball offer in the 2018-2019 retainer contracts announced by Cricket West Indies yesterday. The 30-year-old Roach and Joseph, 21, will be joined by Test and One-Day captain Jason Holder and stroke maker Shea Hope as the four players with all formats contracts. Now, Joseph, a member of the successful 2016 ICC Under-19 World Cup side, has been out of action for most of the last 9 months, recovering from a back injury. But Lewis, a key member of the Wendy's One-Day and T20 side, will be uncontracted for the next year after opting not to tie himself to a retainer. CWI said in a statement that Lewis has been offered a white ball contract and declined. The 26-year-old left-hander has played 35 ODIs and 17 T20s and has already struck 200s in the shortest format, exciting left-hander Shimron Hetmyer meanwhile, who has emerged as one of the most valued talents in cricket West Indies, or West Indies cricket rather, will only hold a red ball contract for the next year. And a squabble between the Indian Cricket Board and the Madhya Pradesh Cricket Association over complimentary tickets could see the second one-day international between West Indies and India be shifted from Indore to Vadodara. The MPCA said last weekend they had written to the BCCI to indicate they could no longer host the match because of the governing body's unreasonable demand for tickets. MPCA Secretary Milind Kandmandikar said it was a decision of the association's managing committee. He said the agreement, which the BCCI sent, requested 1,250 complimentary passes. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.